Both Eddie ABBEW and GREGG DOUCETTE are both completely and utterly
harder than last time.
Remember, Monday morning, my program starts. 12-week plan or 3 months, same thing. Time's going to go regardless. At least be in shape for it. Do you want to fill your sleeves? Do you want to feel like a bit more of a man? Now let's get it sorted, because then time's going to go regardless. And if you didn't join up, I can tell you one thing. 12 weeks from now, you'll be thinking, oh, should have joined up with Connor. See what I can do within 12 weeks to myself. Get on me, message me, reply to the story. Let's go. Today I have had a rest day, as I say. Every day is different, you know what I mean? Now I'm in off season, I kind of like to recover a lot. It takes a lot longer to recover because obviously reduce the dosage of the anabolics down to just basically testosterone at like 100 milligram per week. Do you know what I mean? You don't need any more than that at the end of the day. You just need to recover your body the best you can, and as I say, always coming off is best. But at the same time, because I've just done a show, I've already started recovering back my T3 levels, as I can already feel much better already from taking selenium and iodine. Now, it's not something I recommend to everyone. It's just my approach to a PCT as far as T3 goes, because not a lot of people talk about, obviously, a PCT when it comes to T3. It is a hormone at the end of the day. You take the hormone, you will shut down your natural hormone, as we say. I'll show you the T3 and iodine I'm currently taking. There's the T3 and iodine I currently take. As I say, with selenium, you've got to be very careful because too much can be too much. I find that for me, 200 milligram, as it says there, just a tablet per day, is the perfect dosage. Any more than that, and you start feeling sick and having problems. Iodine at 150 IU per day, just one tablet of each, seems to be the perfect levels for me. Now, as far as supplementation goes, you all know I am currently working with Perform, and obviously there will be a deal coming up soon where I will be doing a giveaway, which will consist of a whey protein, a shirt and a shaker. Make sure you stay on track of my Instagram, because I will be doing a post that will be going up soon, probably the end of the month, in regards to this. And when that is launched, all I need just to do is follow the Instagram of myself and Perform, like the post, share the post and tag 3 friends, and that's simple. And yeah, put it into a raffle where we're going to give away prizes and so forth. That comes out of my monthly expenses with Perform. That's obviously something I want to do for you guys. I want to give you guys the chance to earn something and collaborate with myself, which will be very exciting. This is my favourite flavour of whey protein. In regards to the video tonight, as I say, I do actually consume whey protein, especially in the off season, for easiness as far as that goes. And as well, these different companies out there all do different things, but Perform seems to be the best. That is numero uno when it comes to whey protein. It is the best price, the best flavour, and digest the best. As I say, I'm a tolerance-based person, so in regards to whey protein doesn't always settle well in my stomach. However, Perform's whey protein is perfect. My favourite flavour, as I always say, salted caramel. Next month I will be trying a new flavour, probably the cookies one, and see how that goes. Now, typically on rest days, it's not just a rest for me. I have what's called active rest days, which means I get on the cardio machine and I will get out probably about around 30 minutes to 40 minutes on a bike, as you can see. Yes, I am doing it in long johns. Probably just flashed everyone, sorry. But yeah, I'll get on in my comfy state, I'll watch some TV and so forth, and I'll literally just get out 30 minutes or 40 minutes, as I say. That just gets the blood flowing and the food moving around. Best thing you can do being a bodybuilder, especially in the off season, and this is something I never done before, was cardio in the off season. I used to not do any cardio. I barely even do any steps, to be honest, because in my brain I was thinking, oh, I'm burning calories, so forth. Well, if you're eating enough calories, you're eating enough good food, as I say, then that's not going to be an issue. The benefits of cardio go beyond just calorie burning. It helps with digestion. That's why you'll see bodybuilders like Ronnie Coleman, you'll see all these mass monsters doing like an hour of cardio a day. They're not doing that to burn just calories. They're doing that to push the food around the body. Do you know what I mean? To keep the heart healthy. There's no better form of looking after your body than doing some level of cardio, be it high intensity, be it low intensity. Whatever you do, as long as you're getting that heart pumping, that's the most important part. And that's one thing that I like about GREGG DOUCETTE, because he's a cyclist, because he's all about maintaining health. Okay, I appreciate that. I love the fact he's a cyclist. That's one thing I feel I've got in common with him, because at the end of the day, my favourite cardio machine is cycling. When I was younger, all I ever done was cycle everywhere. I think I used to cycle like 10 miles a day just to get to the gym and back. Do you know what I mean? I'd be like 5 miles there, 5 miles home after doing a session. And it was actually one of my most favourite parts of the day. I loved getting on a bike. If you told me to go run, it's not happening, mate. It's not happening. But you tell me to get on a bike and I'll be on it all day. Do you know what I mean? It's one thing I do actually like about Greg, is he does talk about health after bodybuilding, which is very important. And the same with Eddie as well. He talks about health after bodybuilding. At the end of the day, they're both professionals. They're both very good in their day. You can't ever take that away from them. Do you know what I mean? And they both have the same approach when it comes to anabolics and when it comes to health, as far as like cardiovascular and training goes, which I respect the both of them. Do you know what I mean? I think they're both brilliant. As I say, you just got to find who fits with your sort of approach the best, who you feel like you can follow or understand better. It's all down to the video that I'm going to put up in a moment and talking more deeply about my view on Greg and Eddie's conflict, should I say. Do you know what I mean?
I've genuinely come here to see if I can find anything that I could actually buy to eat that is healthy.
Okay, so both Eddie ABBEW and GREGG DOUCETTE are both completely and utterly right. Now, the thing is, there's many ways to cutting the cake when it comes to getting in shape. There's many ways of getting fit. There's many ways of looking after your health. However, I seem to side more with the Eddie ABBEW approach. Apologies if I say his name wrong there. Only because I'm a big believer in tolerance to foods. Now, this is my view and my view only. When we talk about calories and so forth, if you have an intolerance to food, and everyone has intolerances to food, you can go get a test to find out what food you respond to best and what food you don't respond to well at all, or food that you're completely intolerant to. If I say to someone, say like Sam Sulek, go down a chocolate milk, right? His body might digest that, that's great. So he's gonna get all of the macronutrients from that food. If you go tell someone else, or someone like myself who's lactose intolerant, go down a litre of chocolate milk, well, my body's not going to absorb them macronutrients because I'm intolerant to it. So a lot of inflammation is going to happen, and the body's going to try and abort that food, i.e. pooping, do you know what I mean, to get it out the body. So I'm not going to be able to absorb all of the macronutrients, and there's no accurate way of predicting how much I've actually absorbed and used because I'm intolerant to it. So this is why I seem to side more with the Eddie ABBEW approach of going for natural based foods. Reason being, on top of that, is because as humans, we are animals. We are animals evolved. So throughout history, throughout the human race, when you look at things like the paleo diet and so forth, and I know the paleo diet was kind of like a fad that came in, but at the same time it kind of made a lot of sense. As humans, we've evolved to eat set types of food over thousands of years. That's why when you look at different cultures, I'll give you an example. people who come from, say, a Asian background can typically digest food, say like, I'll give it point blank, a curry, right? Me being obviously white and so forth, my body's not used to eating that type of food. So if, say, me and a partner are both eating and one's like South Asian, they're not going to have as many issues after eating curry as I will. Do you know what I mean? And the reason for that is because of evolution. So throughout their family history or so forth, they've built up a tolerance to that food, like chilies and so forth, where my family history has not built up that tolerance to them foods. So I'm not going to digest it as well as, say, a partner would. That's a brief example of why I think there's so much that we're missing in the sense of tolerance to food that Eddie kind of gets at, but he gets at it without talking so much about tolerance and more about quality of food. I go from more of a tolerance approach, so mine is still similar but slightly different approach. And when you look at foods today, most foods today are filled with preservatives. They're filled with all kinds of fake things like sweeteners. Sweeteners haven't been around for a massively long time. So as humans, evolution-wise, we've never really evolved to eat it. Do you know what I mean? Like maybe 4 generations of eating it. And if anything, we've massively increased the dosage of sweeteners throughout them generations till today most food contain it. So we haven't actually got it like a evolutionary history of that. Do you know what I mean? So how is our body going to be able to digest something as well as something that has always been in our family or always been in human evolution, i.e. like potatoes, meat, you know, so forth, where today, as I say, majority of the food is kind of filled with preservatives and bad chemicals and so forth. Unfortunately, we just haven't built up that tolerance to our food. So today you'll see a lot of people with, like, say, celiac disease, you see a lot of people with diabetes and so forth, and it's because the body will respond in ways by throwing cortisol through the roof when we eat a food that we shouldn't, or not shouldn't, but that we're not used to. It'll throw insulin through the roof, which obviously, as we all know about insulin, as great as it is for putting on muscle, it's also really horrific to the body because it's an inflammatory drug that our body releases. And the higher the insulin level, well, guess what? It's an anabolic hormone, so it's going to feed things like cancer cells. It's not just going to feed muscle cells. Muscle cells is one thing that it's going to help feed. That's it, just one thing. The rest of it, it's going to feed cancer cells, the aging process, do you know what I mean, cell death, and so forth. So insulin isn't actually a great hormone to be running high throughout your body. And obviously when we're eating foods that our body's not used to, like Eddie was kind of getting at with fruit, well, sucralose and fructose absorbs almost identically to the body. The body struggles to tell the difference between the two, so it gives off an insulin response when we eat them foods, which then results in high glycemic index results, which is obviously high levels of insulin shooting up very quickly, which is not what our body wants. Our body doesn't want any quick changes. So this is why I say I side more with the Eddie ABBEW approach rather than just calories in versus calories out. And I am a competitive bodybuilder who's currently in the game. Both Eddie and both Greg are both retired bodybuilders. I'm currently in the game, I'm currently learning, I'm currently seeing new approaches, I'm trying new approaches and so forth. However, where I do side with Greg is the fact that in today's age, it's a little more difficult to get foods that are of the natural sort of quality, paleo sort of diet approach. And at the end of the day, you have got to live your life, and I'll be honest with myself, I'm not going to live my life not knowing what a cheeseburger from McDonald's tastes like. Do you know what I mean? I'm going to go enjoy food out with my family and friends because of the social aspect, but if we're talking primarily the health aspect, and I was solely dedicated to health being my only form of goal, life, whatever, I would take the ABBEW approach. rather than the Greg approach. However, that's not realistic. The realistic approach is I live a life, do you know what I mean? I have family, friends that I want to socialise with, and for me it's the quality of your life lived rather than the quality of your health at all times, because we're bodybuilders at the end of the day. We are. No one's ever said this is a healthy sport, by no means. We're pumping in compounds that should never have been there. We're pumping in compounds that are already there, but we're putting it in at like levels 4 or 5 times what our body naturally should be releasing, which none of this is healthy. We're taking obviously things like clenbuterol, which speed up the heart rate. Bodybuilding itself is not a healthy sport. It's never been a healthy sport. It is, well, maybe back in the day when it was like Eugene Sandow, like, but today it's not. And in order for you to win them titles, in order for you to be successful in the sport, you have to take some risk. These are risk to reward ratio, do you know what I mean? And the closer you get to the show, the risk gets higher and higher, and the rewards get a bit lower and lower, because obviously you're increasing this, you're decreasing food, you're increasing, say, dieting based drugs and so forth. So when you see us on stage, that's when we're at our least healthiest, do you know what I mean? But in order for me to get to them levels of body fat, I can't be throwing in things like, obviously, like, as I say, a kick-up bar, as GREGG DOUCETTE said. I have to throw in things more like natural based to the body. Like, for instance, a lot of people today, and this is one thing I do like about what Eddie said about the eggs per se. Obviously the yolk contains all fatty acids and amino acids and so forth, but a lot of people, this is what I don't get about today's logic, they'll take the yolk out and they'll put something in like peanut butter, but most people don't respond very well to nuts. So some people do, not all people. So why have you took a solid source of lecithin, fatty acids and amino acids out of the egg to replace it with something of worse quality? It doesn't make any sense. Just have the old egg. Like, it's there for a reason, do you know what I mean? So I do agree with Eddie on that one. Where I agree with Greg is Greg has the calorie mindset. Now, both of them are amazing bodybuilders. You can't take that away from anyone. They're both professionals. Obviously, Eddie done it to a higher level, I'd say. But at the same time, they were both, in order for you to get a pro card, people have no idea how hard that is, do you know what I mean? It's not, they're not giving out freely as much as people say that. Anyone who says, oh, they're giving out freely, you go do it. You go get your pro card and tell me how easy and how freely they're giving out. Because the only people who say that are people who've never got one, or people who've had one prior when it was a bit more harder to get one. Which I agree, it was harder when you got it, but it doesn't mean it's easy to go get a pro card. Do you know what I mean? As I say, just as long as you follow a plan, that's the main thing, okay? Whether you're following a calorie-based plan, whether you're following a sort of natural-based ABBEW approach, great. But at the same time, the body likes consistency, and make sure that the food you're eating, you're actually tolerant to. Make sure that you go get a tolerance test, do you know what I mean? Okay, they costed a couple of quid or so forth, but you're probably going to be spending that on bad quality food or bad, do you know what I mean? At least you know exactly how your body's going to respond, and there's no better investment than self-investment. The thing that I do like about Greg is, one, he's entertaining, he is full of information, great information. Two, well, three, he's coached some top level athletes, you can't take that away from him. Ian Valère and so forth, he's taught them a lot about their career, and he's also been successful himself, and he's also healthy. And this is the thing where you can't agree with everyone on everything, okay? No matter who they are in the world, there will be something you disagree with them on. However, the one thing that I do like about both of them is they both try and avert people away from using anabolics, okay? So they both have different approaches when it comes to dieting. When it comes to anabolics, they both have that view of don't abuse them, do you know what I mean? Be careful, you know, they both done it. They both took the anabolics to a high level in comparison to the average person. I am also on that level, but at the same time, it's nice to see that even though they have opposing views on dieting, they both have agreeable views when it comes to anabolics, do you know what I mean? They both have done it, and they'll both will tell you it's not something you want to play with. It's not something you want to do freely. It's something that if you're going to do it, you've made that decision yourself, and anything that goes wrong is on your head. Do you know what I mean? As I say, they'll both say go get a doctor. ABBEW, if I'm not mistaken, was a nurse. GREGG DOUCETTE is obviously a high-level nutritionist and coach, and they both sell programs. It's a business at the end of the day, do you know what I mean? They've both already wrote prior to even speaking to each other their views on nutrition and programs they sell or advertise or so forth. So once they've both released that information, they both can't backtrack and go, yeah, I was wrong about that, because they're making money from this at the end of the day. Do you know what I mean? They've already put this information out there for people to buy it. So why would you want to backtrack on something you've already written when you know it's making you money? That's my view on the whole Eddie versus GREGG DOUCETTE approach. So I hope you like the information today. As I say, my approach is all tolerance based. Eddie's is all down to natural foods and natural quality of food and so forth. GREGG DOUCETTE is more back down to calorie based thing. We all have different approaches, many ways to cut a cake. Just do whatever's right for you and find out. All the best. I hope you like the video I put up today. A little different from what I'd normally do. Remember to subscribe, like, share with your friends. If you've got any things you want to see on here or any viewpoints I have, give me some suggestions down below. Thank you very much. See you later. Now, I am looking to take on a couple of clients. If you're interested, contact me on Instagram and we'll discuss or make a consultation call to get you on the right track to your goal. As I say, summer is coming up. There isn't a lot of time left. So if you're interested in joining the program, find me on Instagram at connorpagebodybuilder.com. Drop me a message and we'll go from there. On top of that, I have a discount code for you all for Perform. 25% off everything. Use code ConnorPage. Just use my name, get 25% off everything. The price is already cheap at Perform, but let's get them as cheap as possible for you. You know what I mean? It helps you and it helps me. So if you're following the channel and you want to get on board and you want to get cheaper supplements, you want to get in better shape and a decent price rather than spending all kinds of money in hopes of getting somewhere, I'm going to tell you exactly how it's done. I'm going to save you money. I'm going to fill your sleeves with muscle, make you feel more confident. Contact me.